Hey, Frog Prince Rana here, and thank you for dropping by. Let's get a couple of the things out of the way first. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. If you throw enough darts at a dartboard, some are bound to land on the target. It is essentially the same deal with First Amendment auditors, at times known as Frauditors. In this video, I will look at it from a neutral point of view. Well, as neutral as possible to their methods, agenda, and legality. Full disclosure. Personally, I'm not fond of these First Amendment auditors, but I will try my best not to let my personal feeling cloud this video. I'm approaching this subject as a photographer and law-abiding person. With that being said, let's go through the definition in case you're unaware of this particular group. First Amendment audits are a largely American social movement that usually involves photographing or filming from a public space. It is often categorized by its practitioners, known as auditors, as activism and citizen journalism that tests constitutional rights. In particular, the right to photograph and video record in a public space. Auditors believe that the movement promotes transparency and open government. However, critics argue that audits are often confrontational in nature, as auditors often refuse to self-identify or explain their activities. Some auditors have also been known to enter public buildings asserting that they have a legal right to openly carry firearms, leading to accusations that auditors are engaged in intimidation, terrorism, and the sovereign citizen movement. There are a bunch of videos on YouTube that shows both sides of this phenomena, from auditors uploading their videos to channels dedicated into showing all the stupid illegal stuff the auditors pull. To be perfectly honest, I'm yet to see a single auditor video where they actually try to do any good. This is something I'll be covering as well. So when we talk about transparency and open government, I get that. There are government acts perpetuated in UK that I don't agree with. I understand every group has bad apples, and there is nothing wrong exposing the bad apples or even to ensure everything is fair. For example, if I'm walking down a road and I see a police arrest, I may choose to hang around. I may even choose to document the procedure. There might be different reasons for it. I might be looking to sell the footage to a TV station, or it may be a selfless act of ensuring nothing illegal is going on. At that point, if the officer asks me about my ID or what I'm doing, I will be giving them my ID. My response will not be, "I don't answer questions," or "Get me your supervisor." That immediately defeats my supposed cause, unless my cause is to antagonize them and trying to get a response for view count. This can extend to, say, recording a court proceedings. Again, it may have a good intention of ensuring everything is above board. But this is where things get a bit trickier. Before getting into that, let's get one thing straight. Laws are different around the world. Hell, it may even be different from state to state. As I live in UK, I can only comment on the laws over here. Being a photographer and a drone operator, I do have to understand the rules and regulations. There is no law stating that you can't take photographs in public. This includes taking photos that include other people's children or taking photos of children directly. In the UK, you do not have to get the permission from people you photograph while they're in a public place. However, if you're taking photographs from private land, you need to have the landowner's permission. Taking a photo of a person where they can expect privacy, such as inside their home or garden, is likely to cause a breach of privacy laws. Adding drones on top of it. I have both operator and owner license for my drone, which is a legal requirement due to the size and weight. With drone, I need to fly over or within 150 meters of any congested area, fly over or within 150 meters of an organized open-air assembly of more than 1,000 people, fly within 50 meters of people and or property that are not under the direct control of the drone user, and ensure any images you obtain using the drone do not break privacy laws. So that is the legal bit out of the way. Some of us photographers also have our etiquettes. Simply put, I can go to a playground and take pictures. I can legally do so, and I do not need any permission. I can fly my drone on the park again without any issue as long as I follow the rules. Now, you may not like it, but tough shit. It is my legal right. But this is where etiquette comes in. If you come up to my face screaming at me, I would definitely ignore you and may call the police. I have had my neighbor threatening to shoot down my drone. Now, as I live in UK, I just laughed. We have strict gun laws over here. But if that same guy approached me as a civilized human being and voiced his concern, I would have no problem putting his mind at ease by showing him my recording. The same thing applies to my camera. But the key point here is, I don't have to. If you're being nice to me, I will be nice to you. From legal point of view, I'm completely in the clear. It is legal to record someone without their permission if it's in the public interest to do so. For example, if you're recording to gather evidence of criminal or corrupt behavior, the crime you document is more serious than the civil offense you may potentially committing by recording. The civil offense only occurs when using spy camera, phone tapping, and so on, and not public recording. As we can see from all these rules, it is all legal as long these are in public space. So obviously the next part to understand is, what is public? Well, a road is public, a park is public, whereas a private business or government building open to public may not be public. It may sound complicated, but it is really not. For example, my local shop is accessible to public, where my home is not. That makes sense, right? You just can't walk into my home where you can into a shop. But the shop can legally ask you to leave their premise and refuse to serve you. Note here that it is illegal if they refused based on what is called a discrimination, meaning if they refuse to serve you because you are white, black, brown, male, female, Christian, Muslim, and such, is against the law. But if the business mandates formal wearing and you walk up there butt naked, they can refuse and it will not be illegal. Furthermore, they are allowed to have their own policy, which may not be law, but for you to remain in their premise, you need to abide by those policies. A dress code would be such a policy. It is completely legal for a man to be topless in the street, but a business may deny me entry due to their policy, and it is completely legal. Same deal applies to government buildings. It is accessible to general public, and yet they may have signs saying no unauthorized person beyond this point, and that sign is equally enforceable. They also have the right to dictate their policy as long as it does not discriminate against. Maybe we should clarify what type of discrimination one is protected against. These are age, gender reassignment, being married or in a civil partnership, being pregnant or on maternity leave, disability, race including color, nationality, ethnic or national origin, religion or belief, sex and sexual orientation. And you're protected from discrimination at work, in education, as a consumer, when using public services, when buying or renting property, as a member or guest of a private club or association. So, If I refuse to let you in my house because you are a fundamentalist religious nutcase, you are not protected because my home is not a place where you are protected from. And the discrimination does not protect you in case of stupidity. Basically, it comes down to this. If a government building prohibits one from filming, then that is the bottom line. It does not matter if said building is open to public. Full stop. Finally, let me revisit the police issue. A police officer might stop you and ask what your name is, what you're doing in the area, and or where you're going. You do not have to stop and answer any questions. If you don't, and there is no other reason to suspect you, then this alone can't be used as a reason to search or arrest you. Also note that you can only be stopped and searched without reasonable grounds if it has been approved by a senior police officer. This can happen if it is suspected that serious violence could take place, you're carrying a weapon or have used one, or you're in a specific location or area. To summarize, in UK, if someone is recording in public area, it is all fine. A police officer can ask to ID oneself, but it is not necessary to provide those details. Now, when you see any of this First Amendment Auditors video, you may be able to look past all their disrespect and understand that depending on the condition, they might be partially correct. And unfortunately, they are completely in right as long they are in a public area or area accessible to public, without any policy overriding any recording requirements. This might include notices like no photography without permission or no recording allowed. Being a smartass saying it does not mention mobile phone is not an excuse either. Well, that's all for today. If you find it worthy, please leave a like and even share it around. If you want to be super awesome, please consider subscribing and so on. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated and helpful for growth of my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Wherever you are, have a safe day. Signing off.
Try.